Hello, everyone. Today we are presenting our prevention workshop, Alcohol Misuse Prevention in College Students. Today we have Shadrikia Gleaton, Chris Moore, and myself, Corey Smith.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shadrika. The reason why this topic is important to me is because I have been completing my practicum hours at an addiction site where I have been able to utilize tools upon us getting new clients. And I will say that a lot of the clients did actually own up and admit to first utilizing alcohol during their college years. So I just think it's important to have those prevention methods in place, um, just so by the time that someone is later on in life, they already stabilized with ways on how to cope with it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Moore. I don't really have any background as far as addiction or alcohol use other than our classes here in the program. Of course, I do know people that have struggled with alcohol, and it started in college for most of them. I also have an interest in it because it is one of the few um, recreational drugs that we have here in North Carolina that's legal, and it is widely used on the college campuses.
Hello, my name is Corey Smith, and the reason why this topic is interesting to me is because I have found the previous addictions classes that I've taken to be very interesting, and attending Alcoholics Anonymous was one of my favorite parts. I do live in Raleigh, and I'm up the street from NC State, so whenever I travel through there, I do see a lot of partying, a lot of drinking, and interestingly enough, NC State does have their own brand of alcohol, which I found to be very interesting. So it definitely shows how heavy alcohol use influences college campus and college culture. So today for our introduction and rationale, college students are at an increased risk for high risk drinking due to social pressures and new academics, which can lead to academic health and safety consequences. An alcohol prevention workshop equips students with practical knowledge, harm reduction strategies, and campus resources to reduce alcohol related risk and promote a healthy college experience. Alcohol misuse is one of the most well documented threats to the success of college students, and as future counselors, we are expected to use empirically supported interventions. The goal of the prevention workshop is to increase awareness and knowledge. This workshop would help students learn to manage stress, develop healthy coping skills, and allow counselors to have a direct positive influence in the lives of students. And this quote is from the motivational interviewing text. There is a synergy among participants who learn and practice together, supporting each other in pursuing change and growth. The learning objectives for this workshop, based off Bloom's taxonomy, create, develop a harm reduction plan incorporating interventions for college students, evaluate the effectiveness of culturally responsive and gender specific prevention strategies for a diverse group of students, analyze the relationship between psychological distress, coping skills, and risky alcohol use among students, apply motivational interviewing approaches and tools to promote alcohol use prevention, understand the purpose of campus wide environment enforcement, such as campus policy and limiting high risk events, and remember the major goal of MI in student alcohol interventions. The problem. The problem, alcohol misuse in college. Binge drinking and heavy episodic use remain common on U.S. campuses. Campus culture, Greek life, and easy access increase those risks. Alcohol misuse among college students has remained consistently elevated for decades. First year college students are especially vulnerable due to transitional challenges of leaving home and adjusting to new environments. High risk drinking contributes to serious consequences, including academic decline, injuries, violence, sexual assault, and long term health problems. College drinking patterns are strongly shaped by social norms. Students often overestimate how much their peers drink, which increases their own risk of alcohol misuse. Psychological distress, discrimination, impulsivity, and stress can also increase risk, particularly for Black students at both HBCUs and PWIs. Despite prevention efforts, alcohol misuse continues to play a major role in campus culture, leading to sustained individual and community level problems. Even though overall use is lower among HBCU students, some will still develop misuse and related harms. The problem, prevalence, and incidence. Alcohol misuse remains a major public health concern on U.S. college campuses, with an estimated 1 in 3 students engaging in binge drinking. High risk drinking contributes to academic problems, injuries, violence, and long term health consequences. Social norms and peer influences strongly shape drinking behavior, particularly when students overestimate how much their peers drink. Black college students report lower alcohol use overall, but are still vulnerable to misuse due to stress, discrimination, and campus specific drinking cultures. First year students are especially at risk as they face new freedoms, social pressures, and identity transitions that can increase alcohol use. The biopsychosocial spiritual view. Biological, family history, or substance use, tolerance, withdrawal, and craving. Psychological, depression, anxiety, and stress, increased impulsivity, higher misuse. Drinking motives to cope, to fit in, have fun, predict misuse, and later psychopathology. Social, peer norms, students often overestimate how much others drink. Campus culture, Greek life, game days, social events. Racialized norms and stereotypes about Black drinking. And spiritual, questions of purpose, belonging, and identity, and using alcohol as a way to deal with disconnection, trauma, or feeling like they are not enough.
Social ecology, layers of influence. You can use bullseye for individual beliefs about alcohol, coping skills, mental health, impulsivity, uh, interpersonal, friends, roommates, partners, Greek organizations. Institutional would be campus police, enforcement, counseling services, and residence life. Community and culture, neighborhood bars, local norms, racialized expectations of behavior. Society would be media, messages, systematic racism, economic stressors. Alcohol misuse is not just a student problem. It's a ecological issue requiring multiple level solutions. Historical roots of college drinking, culture. This is basically based on white institutions. Post-war, two would be the GI Bill growth of residential campuses, increased party-based social norms, Greek life tradition, fraternities and sororities help normalize heavy drinking, shifting drinking age laws, inconsistent enforcement shape accessibility and binge patterns. Public health recognition based on 90s and 2000s research connected college drinking to injury, assault, and academic decline. And all of these are based on historical inequalities. Early prevention research focused on PWIs because Black institutions were underrepresented. underrepresented. The current impact on individuals, families, and communities, and this is a combination of white and Black institutions. For individuals, hangovers, injuries, academic probation, legal issues, risk of sexual assault, intimate partner violence, and trauma. Families will be worry, financial strain, and role conflict, intergenerational patterns of substance use and trauma, communities and society, campus safety incidents, hospital visits, arrests, racial disparities, and discipline and legal consequences. Approaches to intervention and prevention, universal prevention for all students, web-based alcohol education modules during orientation, social norm campaigns to correct misperceptions about peer drinking, campus-wide policy and enforcement to reduce high-risk environments, selective indicated interventions, personalized feedback interventions, or PFIs to compare personal use to real norms, plus harm feedback, motivational interviewing to explore the ambience and build internal motivation for change, skills-based groups teaching protective behavioral strategies or PBS and safer drinking plans. Approaches to intervention and prevention continued. This will be mental health and coping focus approaches, screening for psychological distress and impulsivity, linking to counseling services, stress management and coping skill workshops, culturally responsive and gender specific strategies, uh, be tailored programs for Black students that address racialized norms in campus climate, web based interventions that integrate alcohol, social violence, and bystander skills for women. So the key message is best outcomes come from layering strategies of norms, feedback, skills, and culturally responsive supports. Intervention number one, personalized normative feedback or PNF, evidence-based approach, helps students compare their drinking behaviors to actual campus norms, corrects misperceptions that everyone is drinking heavily, can be delivered online or in a brief counseling session. Those pros are reduces binge drinking by increasing awareness of accurate norms, helps students make safer drinking decisions. Intervention number two, protective behavioral strategies, PBS training. Examples of PBS would be alternating alcoholic and non alcoholic drinks, setting limits before drinking, avoiding drinking games, staying with trusted friends. The pros of this are PBS is linked to fewer alcohol related problems. Students who believe PBS works are more likely to use it effectively. Intervention number three, motivational interviewing and mental health integration. The intervention approach, MI. What is MI? A collaborative, client-centered counseling style that strengthens a student's own motivation and commitment to change, focuses on autonomy, empowerment, and non-judgmental conversation. Why am I for college alcohol misuse? Students often feel oblivion. I like going out, but I don't like the consequences. MI helps them explore the safety and build trust, intrinsic motivation, especially effective in students with positive alcohol expectancies or low self efficiencies. The key tools for the prevention, open ended questions. What do you notice about your drinking today? affirmations, highlighting strengths, not mistakes, reflective listening, showing understanding without judgment, personalized feedback, or PFI, grounded in motivational interviewing, is proven to reduce risky drinking. Why it works for Black college students: it respects the culture, identity, and the life context, validates stress and rationalized experiences and social pressure without forcing change, aligns with culturally responsive prevention. The outcome would be students identify their own reasons to reduce risk and then increase protective strategies and make healthier choices.
Harm reduction. Harm reduction strategies for college alcohol use. So, harm reduction is basically a practical, non judgmental approach that helps students reduce the negative consequences of alcohol use, whether or not they choose to drink. So, some of the core harm reduction strategies would be PBS, which is protective behavioral strategies. This strategy basically allows students to set a drink limit before going out, alternate alcohol with water, eat before and during drinking, avoid drinking games and rapid shots, and stay with trusted friends or pace partners. Another strategy would be the personalized feedback intervention. This provides individualized comparisons of personal use versus actual peer norms, and it also helps students make safer choices without lecturing. Harm reduction continued, safety planning for high risk situations. This allows a designated driver or a rideshare plan. It also allows students to charge their phone before going out, avoid mixing alcohol with other substances, and also knowing your limit or having a signal with friends. Addressing links to stress and mental health. This teaches alternative coping strategies for anxiety, depression, and racial stress. It also offers counseling services plus peer support. So, why harm reduction works? It actually meets the students where they are. It increases safety and reduces consequences without requiring abstinence. Solutions to the problem. Based on the research, it suggests that multi-level interventions provide the best outcomes. So on an individual level, it has a personalized feedback interventions, which is PFI. It also has motivational interviewing, coping skills training for stress and trauma. On a social level, it has social norms education, peer-led harm reduction workshops. On a cultural level, it has culturally relevant interventions for Black students. And then on a campus level, it has a stronger policy enforcement and also limiting alcohol availability. The plan. Some of the key prevention interventions that we found to be the most useful based on research, we suggest the brief motivational interventions. So, motivational interviewing, basically helping the students reduce risky drinking. An example would be the Basics program. This actually has a strong evidence for lowering binge drinking. Another intervention would be the personalized normative feedback. This corrects students' misperceptions about peer drinking habits, as talked about earlier. It also reduces the belief that everyone drinks heavily, which decreases risky use. Um, Another intervention would be the digital prevention programs. With being on a college campus, online tools such as Alcohol EDU and e-checkup to go are already used widely. Also effective for educating large groups, especially incoming freshmen and younger adults. Another intervention would be that the most effective evidence-based approaches. So these approaches are brief motivational interviewing, personalized normative feedback, the digital programs with the personalized feedback, and then combined interventions and environmental strategies. Some of the key challenges to address. So, we did want to talk about the campus drinking culture, just basically how heavy drinking is often normalized in college and social life, the misperceptions of peer behavior. Some students typically overestimate how much their peers drink. The mental health stressors. Students may use alcohol to cope with anxiety, loneliness, or academic pressure. The accessibility of alcohol, you have parties, bars near campus, Greek life, and fake IDs, which increases the availability. Also, engagement difficulties. Students at highest risk may avoid workshops or interventions. And then the stigma and confidentiality, which is the fear of judgment if students are seeking help. So our program basically is the College Alcohol Misuse Prevention Program, CAMP for short. The overview of our program basically is through tailored treatments, peer support, education, and environmental solutions for a healthier campus culture. The CAMP programs is an evidence-based effort to reduce high-risk alcohol consumption among college students. So the goals of our program would be to basically reduce the high-risk drinking behaviors, increase student knowledge of safe drinking practices and consequences, improve healthy coping and stress management skills, correct misperceptions about peer alcohol use on college campus, promote a campus environment that supports moderation and safety, and also decrease alcohol related harms such as injuries, academic issues, DUIs, and assaults. Again, our target population would be incoming freshmen, as they are the highest risk group, student involved in athletics, Greek life, or residential communities, students that are flagged by conduct violations or health services, and also general student body through prevention messaging. In conclusion, preventing alcohol misuse among college students is a critical public health priority that requires a multifaceted approach. Research shows that a combination of individual, social, and environmental strategies is most effective. Evidence-based interventions, including brief motivational programs, social norm campaigns, peer-led education, and skill-building workshops help students understand the risks associated with alcohol and make informed choices. Policies such as alcohol-free campus events, strict enforcement of legal drinking age, and limiting alcohol availability also play an important role in shaping behavior. The challenges that remain, which are peer pressure, cultural norms around drinking, and the accessibility of alcohol both on and off campus. To overcome these barriers, collaboration is essential between students, campus administrators, faculty, health services, and the surrounding community. By promoting awareness, offering support systems, and enforcing policies consistently, colleges can reduce risky behaviors, prevent alcohol-related harms, and foster a safer, healthier environment for all students. Ultimately, successful prevention empowers students to make responsible decisions, promote academic success, and supports the overall well-being of college students. These are just a few questions for reflections or slash thought. So some things that we would like to think about is, how do your personal beliefs or social circles influence how you view alcohol use? Which intervention strategies or educational programming felt the most meaningful to you and why? If you had the opportunity to design a prevention program for your campus, what key elements would you include? What role does mental health play in alcohol use for college students? And how can campuses better integrate supports? How would culturally tailored approaches change the way we talk about alcohol use among different student groups? And lastly, what is one harm reduction or coping strategy you could personally incorporate right now? And this concludes the end of our presentation.